और दूसरी चीज़ ये जो आपने लगाया है ना, हाँ, आप अगर प्लग इन रखेंगे
तो मैं देख लूँगा बाहर जाकर चेक करूँगा, अभी तो नहीं आ रहा। हेलो,
स्टिल गonna do it. आप देख लीजिएगा फिर निकाल लीजिएगा उसको।
All good? No matter. I think the light went down. All right, guys, can you hear me? If you can, let me know. If you don't, it's okay. But at any rate, we're not opening the program right now. Just a casual happy Mother's Day to you all. I took a lot of beating coming down here from my wife and my girls, but I'm here. So we have not probably 8 more minutes. We're going to start around 12:30. Still waiting for some more people, and we'll start as soon as we get a chance. And if you, there's going to be a Q&A session, so make sure you have some questions ready. That's going to be after all the speakers have the opportunity to speak up. Then we'll have the Q&A.
Flag. Place your right hand over your heart. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee. Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Please wait for a moment of silence. Thank you. Turn to face the flag. Turn to face the flag.
Hello. Can you hear me? Hello.
I don't think that they can hear your voice.
Hello. Can you hear me now?
सर
Hello.
मैं ब्रिगेडियर हारिस बोल रहा हूँ मेरे कान में आवाज नहीं आ रही
जी हेलो
मैं सर ब्रिगेडियर हारिस बोल रहा हूँ कराची से उनको मुझे लगता है आपकी आवाज नहीं जा रही है
हाँ जी हारिस आपकी आवाज तो मुझे आ रही है
जी सर
उधर से
वहां नहीं जा रही है वहां नहीं जा
हाँ,
रही
शुरू से ही वो तो आवाज उनकी नहीं जा रही आपको आ रही है आवाज उनकी उनकी आवाज मुझे आ रही है बट अब
हाँ ये
हमारी
मुझे भी नहीं पता कि आई थिंक दे कैन किसी और स्पीकर को बोलने दें ना मीनिंग दे कैन चेक योर वॉइस
आई डोंट नो बिकॉज दैट्स वेरी पुअर एक सेकंड ये
इसको ऑफ करके दोबारा ऑन करें आप इसको
अच्छा
ऑफ करके ना दोबारा ऑन करें जब
ओके
बिल्कुल
ठीक है
बंद करके ऑन करें
ओके हेलो हेलो जी साई साहब आपको तो मैं देख रहा हूँ आई डोंट नो
Ji, sir.
हम आपस
Assalamualaikum, sir. I can hear you very loud and clear.
या
That's what I wanted to say.
हम
That
सारे हारिस भी मुझे कह रहे हैं नहीं ओके ओके ठीक है जी बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम देखिए फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आई वुड लाइक टू थैंक कैप्टन तारिक महमूद the chairman of Rise for Pakistan and covering vision and strategic initiatives. He is a very proud Pakistani and I have a long association with him. And we are proud of such sons of the soil who, while being abroad, busy in their own business and everything, they still bother for what is happening in Pakistan because that is their country. So therefore, one that I would like to convey my thanks that he also given me a chance to speak here. We have been allocated limited time and I would like to confine to that. The point is that, you see, wars solve no problem. We have seen beginning 20th century, First World War took place, many million people lost their lives. Then League of Nations was made for peacekeeping and conflict resolution. That failed and Second World War took place. And unfortunately, in that again, nuclear bombs were used. And now we are making United Nations as a useless institution because we're not listening to them, neither obeying their charter, nor listening to resolutions that they pass. So therefore, again, there is a big danger. When Pakistan was founded, the founding father, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, gave us three priorities. He said, first, that you should concentrate maximum on educating your youth. Secondly, that you should build up your economy. And thirdly, that you should have a strong defense. Although while giving his directive on the foreign policy, he had said that we have no aggressive designs against any country. We want to have peaceful living with every country, especially the superpowers and the neighbors. And thirdly, he said that we will obey by the international law and go by the UN Charter. And fourthly, he said that in our international relations, we will abide by honesty and fair play. And last but not the least, he said that we will stand with the all oppressed and suppressed nations, whether they are Palestinians or Kashmiris, or for that matter, any other minority which is oppressed and they are not being given their right of self-determination. Pakistan will stand with them. Then someone asked that you said that we have a peaceful coexistence and we want to live in peace. but at the same time, then you also ask us to prepare your defense. The answer that he gave was that you may be peaceful, but your enemy who is against your national security and would like to undo you, they are not peace loving. So you should have a strong defense to ensure that nobody dares look at you. Unfortunately, India committed this violation more than 2 times, in fact, 3 times. They attacked East Pakistan, former East Pakistan, violating the international law, and a portion of Pakistan, which was about 1,000 miles away. Then they invaded that, and that aggression took place, violating the international law, as I said. Then in 1965 war, they tried to sever Pakistan into pieces by attacking Lahore and Sialkot, and they thought that their pincers will converge at the GT Road and they will undo Pakistan. They failed. Now, this time, you know that they just made an excuse on a false flag operation, and Pakistan offered them that we are ready to sort of participate in an international investigation and see who is responsible. Give us any proof. We will take people to task if any Pakistani is involved into that. But they didn't listen, and they had the audacity to cross the international border and attack Pakistan. So therefore, they were taught a lesson. And that was such a lesson that they will remember for rest of their life. The strategy Pakistan followed was rapid, precise, and integrated proportional response, because we never wanted to escalate anything, because these two countries are nuclear countries. Therefore, Pakistan, although on its line and target and line of fire, there were more than a dozen aircraft, but they shoot down about 7, 8 of them, and rest they left. And secondly, Pakistani used state-of-the-art modern technology, that is Fateh series missiles, F1 and 2. They used the JF-10C fighters with lethal combination of beyond visual range capability, and they also used the light-ring ammunition. In addition to that, were PL-15 missiles used, and they totally surprised the Indians. They were not ready. Their intelligence failed. They underestimated the strength of Pakistan, and they thought that it would be a run over. We'll go occupy Azad Kashmir and go into Karakoram Highway and sever the CPAC with China and so on. That was, and then they faced a seamless national unity and best civil military relations. Pakistanis across the board, all parties, without any exception, all media people groups, all business community people, every province, they were united like a wall of steel, and they really supported their army. The armed forces integrated operation, which was not only integration of tri-service, in addition to that was cyber war, went into the space under the water, and this all was coordinated in such a manner that it impressed not only countries in South Asia, but in the entire globe. Even the Western countries, really, they were really impressed. And that is how Pakistan image was raised. Pakistani forces engaged 26 bases. Some of them were Suratgarh, Sirsa, Bhuj, Adampur, then Bathinda, Jammu, Srinagar, Avantipura, and Udampur, Ambala, Pathankot, and so on. And similarly, they went for BrahMos missile storage facilities at Beas and Nagrota. Their exact locations were with Pakistan, because their intelligence has been working out and pinpoint accuracy was there. Then S-400 air defense system was at Madhupur and Bhuj. They were also targeted. A field supply depot at Uri in Kashmir, and also radar positioned at Punch. They were destroyed. Headquarter 10 Corps, 10 Division, and 10 Brigade and 80 Brigade. They were also completely destroyed. and effective cyber operation and electronic war. So lastly, I would say that who gets the credit? I say that it's a credit for the entire Pakistani nation. Although it was a fight by the armed forces, but the armed forces cannot fight without the support of the nation. So it was a civil military cooperation. Armed forces, the pivotal role was played by Field Marshal Asghar, who coordinated everything. And not to forget the Air Chief Marshal Zahiruddin Babar, who really, I was interacting with their officers. They said he did not prepare for today. He did not even prepare for tomorrow. His preparation was day after tomorrow and beyond. And Alhamdulillah, even today, Field Marshal Asghar said that if again India takes such a wrong initiative, then they will be taught a lesson because we have not exposed everything that we have with them. In addition to that, we give credit to our youth from Canada to Australia, from Europe to South Asia and Southeast Asia. Our youth outside, really, they on the social media, they really were doing their best in the cyber war too, in the electronic war too. Then our media people, they stood tall, they talked sense, they always spoke truth, transparent. They only gave a news when they had a proof. And in competition, you saw that Indian media was saying that Karachi has been captured, Prime Minister has been arrested, and so on and so on. And that is what was there. Then, and when we give credit to our media, we give credit to our Director General ISPR, who General Sharif, who gave very precise briefings before the battles, during the battle, and after the battle. And then that Air Vice Marshal Aurangzeb, precisely entire word side. And he also briefed the foreign diplomats who were in Pakistan, and they really conveyed it to their countries and so on. Then I think we give credit to our scientists and engineers who did defense production, and they are second to none in the world. I have been chairing the Senate Standing Committee on Defense Production for 6 years, and I know their potential, and they have all that done. So therefore, I might have taken 2-3 minutes more, but I'm so grateful. And once again, I'll thank my brothers who are there listening to us. We need their prayers. And if there are American origin brothers sitting there, I would also thank them to have attended this meeting. And I would like to thank the American leadership also. Why? Because they called a spade a spade. President Trump, America today has about 800 bases in the entire world, and they exactly know what is happening in the space and overall in the atmosphere. And they said that the 8 aircrafts were really shot down, or 10 were shot down. I think they have their own authentic. Whatever we had data with us, our leadership and military leadership has given them. So at the end, I will just give a Urdu couplet, which I think our Pakistani brothers will understand. This is a resolve that खूने दिल दे के निखारेंगे रुखे बरगे गुलाब हमने गुलशन के तहफ़्फ़ुज़ की कसम खाई है. That means that we have sworn to defend every inch of our land, even if we have to give our blood. And that's what Pakistan is doing. We want to live in peace with our neighbors, with everybody. But we want that they should abide by the international law, and that is what we expect from them. Thank you very much, sir. Okay. Alhamdulillah, based on our performance in the battlefield, and then the stature of our Prime Minister and Field Marshal Asghar, they have been chosen out of 195 countries which are member of the United Nations. They have been trusted to mediate between two arch rivals, Iran and America, and it is a great diplomatic capital for Pakistan, and I think we would like to utilize that for the welfare of our people. image. शायद keep images में.
Hello. Yes, I can. Can you hear me? All right, thank you. All right, thank you. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Captain Tariq Mahmood, Chairman, Rise for Pakistan. A good friend of mine since our boyhood when we were together in PFWA in the school. And it reminds me of one of the incidents of 65 war when he was in class 7th. And when the war broke out, he rode his bicycle and went from street to street to collect funds for the military Jawans and raise funds for them. That speaks for his love for his country, for the army, even as a child. And this love he's carrying even till today. And knowing his interest in Pakistan, he has very rightly selected a forum for himself, that is Rise for Pakistan. We really appreciate his effort, and I thank him and all the other management for inviting me to this August gathering to speak on a topic which is very dear to us and which has brought a lot of respect for Pakistan. Distinguished guests, respected members of the strategic community, and the members of diaspora, Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon. I think it's there in United States. My talk today will cover the broader contours of military dimension of the conflict with specific reference to the air-to-air battle between Pakistan and India in May 2025, the 4 days war. Right at the outset, I would like to quote a verse from the Holy Quran, which is recited during all the passing out parades in Pakistan military. It is the verse number 60 of Surah Anfal, which says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, وَأَعِدُّوا لَهُمْ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن قُوَّةٍ وَمِن رِّبَاطِ الْخَيْلِ تُرْهِبُونَ بِهِ عَدُوَّ اللَّهِ وَعَدُوَّكُمْ وَآخَرِينَ مِن دُونِهِمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَهُمْ اللَّهُ يَعْلَمُهُمْ وَمَا تُنْفِقُوا مِن شَيْءٍ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ يُوَفَّى إِلَيْكُمْ وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تُظْلَمُونَ. And make ready your strength to the utmost of your power, including the sinews of war, to strike terror into the hearts of the enemies of Allah and your enemies, and others besides them whom you know not, but whom Allah does know. And whatever you expend in the cause of Allah shall be repaid unto you. Sadaqallahu al-Aliyyul Azim. So in this verse, you can also see that even Allah has ordained us to keep our strength ready and to keep it vibrant and relevant to the environment. And it's not a one-time measure, it's an everyday affair that we have to continue competing with the rest of with our enemies in our advancement, technological, military, intellectual, and knowledge. Uh, the events of May 7 to May 10, 2025 represent one of the most consequential short duration military confrontation in the recent South Asian history. Not because of its duration or length, but because of its intensity, precision, and strategic implications. There was not a conventional war in the classical sense. It was a compressed, high tempo, multi domain engagement where outcomes were shaped not over months, but within hours. If we draw a comparison between Indian Air Force and Pakistan Air Force, just briefly, IAF is 5 times that of Pakistan Air Force. It is fourth largest air force in the world, with fourth and fifth generation medium and high-tech aircraft, which number more than 1,700, which includes the fighters, the helicopters, and the transporters. And if we add the trainers and the support aircraft, the total exceeds 2,200 in number. The fighter planes of the Indians include Su-30 Mark 1, Rafale, MiG-29 UPG, and Mirage 2000 and HAL Tejas. Whereas, as far as Pakistan Air Force is concerned, it operates multiple systems from France, US, China, and European countries. The earlier US military aid was stopped, which badly affected the efficiency of Pakistan Air Force, especially with regards to F-16s. Later on, the induction of JF-17 in the recent past, it really gave it a fillip and added a lot of potency in the Pakistan Air Force. The other fighter aircrafts include J-10C, Mirage, and F-7PG. And besides them, UAVs and UCAVs. On the night of May 6th and 7th, the Indian military struck with missiles remaining inside the Indian territory on civilian infrastructure and places of worship, causing casualties, including women and children. On the same night, at midnight, almost midnight, 2 aircrafts were sent who came into Pakistan territory, probably with a reconnaissance mission. And thereafter, at 12:30, 75 Indian aircraft were launched to attack Pakistan at various places like Bahawalpur, Muridke, and Muzaffarabad. To counter this Indian onslaught, 42 aircrafts from Pakistani side, from the Pakistan Air Force, were launched to combat them. And briefly, if we see a large-scale BVR, that is beyond visual range, air battle unfolded, one of the biggest and the first in modern history, involving over 120 or more combat aircrafts from both sides, including the advanced fourth and fifth generation fighters, AWACS, and electronic warfare platforms. PAF, though, had locked onto 20 aircraft, one AWACS, which was on the ground on Agra airfield. However, PAF restricted itself by downing only 8 aircraft, which included 4 Rafale, 1 Su-30, 1 MiG-29, a Mirage aircraft, and an MQ-9 Reaper US origin UAV, which has a global range and an endurance of more than 22 hours. I think a big kill and a big prize for Pakistani Air Force. That was also down. One of the Pakistani pilots had locked on to the AWACS, which was stationed in Agra, and requested permission to attack and destroy it. But Air Chief Marshal Zahiuddin Babar Sidhu, who was himself conducting the operations from the operation room, stopped him from doing so, being fully cognizant of the nuclear environment, and also to be careful in raising the escalation between the two countries, because it was a measured response to the Indian aggression and atrocities. Therefore, he decided to be content with 8 aircrafts down and pull back the Pakistani Air Force. Aeroplanes, all 42 of them returned safely, and there was not a single loss from the PF side. I think a big tribute to the professionalism and the way the Pakistani Air Force fought this battle. Sorry? Sorry, I can barely hear you. Your voice is distorted. So anybody else who can really put this question? Yeah, I can hear you, but when you, sorry, I'm not been able to make out. Can I continue and finish my talk? Yeah, can I continue? Oh, okay, okay, all right.
Hello. Hello. I'm audible. Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Honorable Captain Tariq Mahmood, Chairman Rise for Pakistan Forum, distinguished audience, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon to you.
and good night to us. Well, it's almost midnight here in Pakistan, so it's about time to get to the butt. So therefore, if there's any shortcoming during my speech, you should understand that it is midnight here in Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a matter of immense pleasure and indeed a great honor for me to interact with such an august and esteemed gathering present here today in the seminar. I'm very grateful to our esteemed host, Captain Tariq Mahmood, who is my postmate, a very dear friend. We know each other since 1972. And amongst so many other sterling qualities, he's a person who was known in Pakistan Military Academy and subsequently later on in the service as a very, very brave person. He's very courageous. He was declared the best loser in the boxing in Pakistan Military Academy. And those who would wonder as to why a best loser, it's always the winner and the best winner. In fact, as it is said, that it's not important how many times you fall. What is important is that when you fall, how do you get up and respond? So back in 1972, in a boxing bout, though he lost, but he was all blood on his face, but he continued fighting till the last moment and hence was declared the most courageous and brave gentleman cadet and declared as the best loser. My deep compliments to him, and I'm very, very grateful to him for inviting me and affording me this opportunity to express my views on the military perspective of Pakistan-India 4 days conflict of May 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, as you all are well aware, that in May 2025, Asia stood, particularly South Asia, on the brink of a major war between two nuclear-armed states. What began as an escalation quickly turned into a test of resolve, capability, and professionalism. Our adversary, intoxicated with superiority of numbers, its gigantic size, and unfounded arrogance, miscalculated Pakistan's response. They believed they could overwhelm and dictate terms to us. That proved absolutely absurd and wrong. They misled Pakistan's unshakable belief, indomitable spirit of sacrifice, and competent leadership led by Field Marshal Syed Asim Munir. Pakistan did not merely endure the challenge of those 4 days, but rose like an indomitable mountain and manifested the divine concept of Banyanul Mahsus. It stunned and unnerved our enemy, trampled his false sense of regional bully and hegemon, and within days, the outcome was very clear to the whole world. The deterrence was not only tested, it was decisively re-established in those 4 decisive days. Pakistan proved that when the defining moment came, Pakistan did not panic, did not hesitate, and did not stumble. Instead, Pakistan responded with precision, discipline, and unshakable confidence. Pakistan showed to the entire world that our deterrence is not a rhetoric, but a reality. Our armed forces are not symbolic. They are professional, committed, and decisive. Our resolve is not conditional, it's absolute. And it is the absolute from, as we know from the sands of the Battle of Badr to challenges of today. The lesson remains unchanged. And that lesson is that a determined people standing on truth, unshakable resolve, and steadfastness led by competent leadership, cannot be intimidated, cannot be overwhelmed or defeated by mere numbers and bigger size. Our valiant armed forces proved that Quranic verses, where in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 249, Allah says, many a small group, by Allah's blessings and permission, has overcome a large one. Allah is with the steadfast. And it also proved true to the words of our philosopher poet Allama Iqbal, who says, फिजाए बदर पैदा कर फरिश्ते तेरी नुसरत को उतर सकते हैं गर्दों से कतार अंदर कतार अब भी. In those tense hours and defining moments, that very spirit awakened the nation, which stood solidly as was highly named as Bunyanul Masus. Every Pakistani rose with the slogan of Allahu Akbar and Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Jinnah's assertion that nobody can undo Pakistan and it is there to stay forever, inshallah. As for the professional military perspective of this 4 days conflict is concerned, at the strategic level, I would say it was resolved without ambiguity. Pakistan's response was immediate, deliberate, and unambiguous. There was no confusion in our intent. That was the sovereignty of Pakistan would be defended at all costs. Aggression would be responded to with full force. Escalation would, however, be controlled, but not at the cost of credibility. This clarity forced a rapid shift in the strategic environment in favor of Pakistan. Coming on to the operational level, the defining factors were speed combined with integration, unity of command, and jointness of the operations. Response cycles on our part were faster, coordination across various domains was well synchronized, and execution was coherent and perfect indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, the modern conflicts are decided not in prolonged campaigns, but how quickly one can connect one's decision to the action. The side that establishes operational dominance early shapes the entire trajectory of the conflict. That's precisely what our well-wished armed forces did. At the tactical level, the difference was spirit of sacrifice, undaunted courage, exemplary discipline, and professional superiority. Operations were precise, controlled, and perfectly aligned with our strategic objectives. No unnecessary expansion, no loss of control, no ambiguity, no deviation from the intent and objectives. This is what professional armed forces do. They deliver effects, not chaos, no confusion, no hesitation. Ladies and gentlemen, the outcome was very, very clear, and the shift in the equation was that within days, the escalation was contained, the strategic balance shifted in favor of Pakistan, and a ceasefire followed. Not after weeks, not after prolonged attrition, but within days. It was manifestation of 21st century blitzkrieg. As for the international dimension, yes, the international community got involved as the two nuclear armed states were directly in the conflict. First time in the history of modern warfare, laden with ominous consequences. But global diplomacy does not operate in a vacuum. It responds to realities on ground. A credible, effective, and controlled military response creates the conditions in which external actors push for de-escalation. Without that credibility and shaping of the favorable environments, diplomacy has little leverage. Coming on to the lessons which we can learn from this conflict. First, strong, professional, and credible leadership is sine qua non for decisive victory. Second, speed is decisive. The opening phase defines the outcome. Third, integration across various domains is no longer optional, it is essential. And fourth, controlled application of force is more powerful than uncontrolled escalation. Ladies and gentlemen, the events of May 2025 demonstrated a fundamental principle of modern conflict. Deterrence is not a theory. It is established through action, clarity, and control. Pakistan's response showed that strength lies not just in numbers and capability, but in the ability to apply it decisively and responsibly. And in this case, it was absolutely clear what our armed forces did. However, at the end, let me say that after this historic victory, the message to the world is Pakistan does not seek war, but does not fear it. Pakistan desires peace, but peace with dignity and honor, not submission. Pakistan practices strategic restraint, but restraint backed by strength, not weakness. And if ever tested again, our response will be more deadly, effective, and decisive. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for bearing with me. I'm so grateful for your patience. Pakistan Zindabad.
Okay, can you hear me, sir? Am I audible, sir? Okay. Sir, first of all, I must thank Captain Tariq Mahmood for giving me this opportunity to speak on this very important subject. And he's also a chairman of Right for Pakistan Forum. And in this very important seminar. And ladies and gentlemen, as Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah aptly stated, armed forces are the guardians of our national honor. The character of modern conflict has evolved where success is determined by integration of strategic foresight, military professionalism, and technological superiority. The recent four-day engagement in the aftermath of Operation Biryani Marsoos stands as a testament to Pakistan's resolve, preparedness, and institutional synergy. I intend examining the conflict through its political, military, and technological dimensions. Political dimensions. The crisis reaffirms the volatile nature of the regional security environment and the limitation of traditional conflict management framework. Pakistan demonstrated strategic restraint and diplomatic maturity, engaging constructively with the international community while firmly safeguarding the national interest. In an increasingly contested information space, Pakistan's position was strengthened through a coherent national narrative and proactive diplomatic outreach supported by its global diaspora. Military dimensions. The armed forces of Pakistan exhibited high readiness, jointness, and operational excellence throughout the engagement. The Pakistan Air Force established decisive control of the air domain, ensuring freedom of action for own forces, while effectively denying the same to the adversary. Through precision engagement, superior situational awareness, and seamless integration of assets, hostile air threats were neutralized in a measured and proportionate response. The operation reaffirmed Pakistan's doctrine of credible deterrence, swift response, and escalation control under a nuclear overhead. Technological dimensions. The engagement highlighted the decisive role of advanced technologies as force multiplier. Precision-guided munitions, unmanned systems, and integrated intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance (ISR) capabilities significantly enhanced operational effectiveness. The employment of electronic warfare and cyber capability ensured information dominance and disrupted adversaries' coordination. Modern warfare has become inherently multi-domain, requiring continuous innovation and technological adaptability. Post-operation strategic outlook. The conflict carries far-reaching implications for South Asian strategic stability, the necessity and complexity of deterrence. While nuclear deterrence remain intact, the speed and intensity of modern engagement increase risk of miscalculation. Pakistan must continue to align military preparedness with diplomatic engagement and economic resilience. The Pakistan diaspora and information domain will remain critical in shaping international perceptions and reinforcing Pakistan's principles stance. In recent engagements had demonstrated that professional excellence, unity of purpose, and technological integration remain the cornerstone of success. As reflected in the Holy Quran, and prepare against them whatever you are able of power. Surah Al-Anfal. Pakistan remains armed forces through their measured resolve and professional response have once again upheld the principles of peace through strength, stability through preparedness. And let me tell you one thing very clearly, gentlemen, we must give a lot of credit to Field Marshal Syed Munir, who is the Chief of Defense Forces also, that he collected the whole nation under one umbrella. And then he gave Indians a crushing defeat. And this is only possible because, army doesn't fight alone. You fight as a nation. And that is what exactly happened in Banan Mansoor. And today, Pakistan has become a regional stabilizer, and India is totally isolated. And that is the outcome of that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, can you hear me? Thank you very much. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna Allah yuhibbul lazina yuqatiluna fi sabilih saffan kannahum bunyanun marsus. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my proud privilege to be here with you and talking on a subject which has now achieved international relevance. And for that, I'm grateful to Captain Tariq, who's been my very close associate right from KG1, KG2, studied in the same school, same college. I know him very well. We have passed through the shades of life. And I know when he's committed to something, he's really committed to that. And he performs there. So I wish Rise, as a chairman, Rise for Pakistan and all those members who are in there, good luck. And it's pleasure to speak to you. Actually, most of the things, the previous speaker, the panel, which was very distinguished, have been spoken. But I'll just take your memory back to a very short glimpses. And that is whenever there are elections in India, something happens. And this time also, since there was elections going on Bihar, and if you go back, there was election going on, so Pulwama happened. There was election going on, Pathankot happened. They had to impose some stringent laws. So the Taj Hotel happened, where they kidnapped a Nepali from Nepal, took him around, and then made a story that a Rikti-Tikti boat had come from Karachi and landed in Bombay, and then the weapons were taken off, all against the terrorist theories. And so this time also, like Pulwama, like Taj Hotel, like Pathankot, like Gudi, like Parliament attack, RAW has constituted a special division for undertaking a false flag operation. Initially, they started with the Mossad help. First, they did it in Jammu and Kashmir, and now they have shifted it to other areas also. But this time, whatever happened in Pulwama was because of the fact that Amit Shah had visited Pulwama a week before this thing happened. And Indian Express Tribune reported this, that Amit Shah had removed 3 layers of security, which was in the form of BSF at the front, then CRPF, and there is a layer of security which was constituted by that tourism board, where they used to check all the ID cards and all the documents, and especially the people visiting there had to bring a residence certificate also to go into the tourist. How is it possible that if had there been 3 layers of security, probably Pulwama would not have happened? So this was a brief account of that, and there was a BSF camp about 2 kilometers away from the place of location where this false flag operation took place. And you see the way the FIR was registered, after 10 minutes of the incident, you register an FIR where the police station is at the drive of 15 minutes from the place from which these things are happening. So when Pulwama happened, you remember at that point of time, the governor of Kashmir had said, Satyapal Malik, I rang up Narendra Modi. I said these Jawans have died because of your ignorance. So the Narendra Modi replied that please keep quiet, we will put the blame on ISI. So always this thing, whenever there is election in India, something had to happen. This thing had to happen because Narendra Modi came back from Saudi Arab and they gave the timing war that Vice President of America, J.D. Vance, was present in India. He was in Saudi Arab, so he said, I will sound to Saudi Arab also that Pakistan has unleashed a terrorist attack. Then J.D. Vance will also come to know that there is some terrorist carried by Pakistan, so Pakistan will be blamed for that. He came, he did not go to Pulwama. Instead, he went to Bihar, where he made his election speech and bashed Pakistan for everything. So when all this thing have happened, I was fearing that there is going to be some attack from the Indian side. And everybody was keeping a very close eye. Everybody was keeping a very minutely following the details of the incidents going on in India. So immediately after that, somewhere apart on 29th April, this was reported in the press too, 4 Indian Rafale aircraft had taken off from Ambala, and they wanted to bomb some sites in Pakistan. But what happened that Pakistan are electronic warfare units, which was composed of Pakistan Army also, and basically mostly from Pakistan Air Force, they were deployed all along the border. So they jammed the radar They jammed the communication of the Rafale aircraft. The Rafale aircraft, 4 Rafale aircraft had to turn back, and they did not land on their original base, that was Ambala. They were so disoriented that they landed at the Srinagar air base. And all of this incident was reported in the press also. Then we were saying that till 6 May, India IAF had deployed about 20 Rafale of 101 squadron from Eastern Command to Western Command, Srinagar, Ambala, and Rajasthan. Batteries of S-400, SA-221 Growler surface-to-air missile, they were moved from Adampur, Bhoj, were moved to Adampur, Bhoj, and Bikaner. This war preparation and build-up was closely monitored by the PF radars also and our intelligence agencies also. Then on what happened on 7 May, you all know that there were 74 aircrafts in the air, which were of IF, and there were 42 aircrafts of Pakistan. And then they were all over in Pakistan at Azad Kashmir. And at that point of time, in the IF had taken about 24, had conducted 24 missile attacks in Pakistan and Azad Kashmir, and the Spice 2000 precision guided missile, followed by the Mirages, were used to destroy the targets in Pakistan, which were basically civilian targets. And you all know that in the war, the civilian targets, the civilian population cannot be attacked. According to Additional General Protocol, Article 53, if you attack a civilian target, it's taken into the clause of the starvation of the public, and that is counted as a war crime. It's not just crime. In the major war, you can strike the target, which is the military target, but you cannot strike civilian target. So Indian at that point of time had committed a war crime. So Pakistan had to respond back, because Pakistan, the 31 civilians, which would be women and children, had embraced Shahadat in Pakistan. Then those 74 aircraft which were in the air, there were 36 Rafales. Then there were SU Mark 1 and the Mirage 2000, and they were flying in the offensive posture at that point of time. That offensive posture was that the whole of the sortie was led by the Rafale aircraft, and then followed by the SU Mark 1 and Mirage 2000. And they were carrying they were equipped with the BVA, RAM, and beyond visual range missiles. And SU Mark 31 were the flankers, and then they were carrying the Derby BUR Israeli missile and Spice 2000 precision guided missile. So IF at that point of time had 8 sorties, and each formation had 4 into SU-7, SUs, 2 into Rafale, and 2 into Mirages. So at that point of time, in response to this, what Pakistan did, actually Pakistan had given a new concept to the world in this war, and which is known as the multi-domain warfare, which was in the press briefing, which was explained by AVM Aurangzeb also. And this multi-domain operation concept, which has been given by Pakistan, it is basically basis that you synergize everything, your land, air, sea, and cyber warfare and other autonomous system. They come under one command. And Pakistan Air Force has created South Command, Central Command, and Western Command, which is known as the C2 Command. So since the air chief was present inside the command center, so he was monitoring the battle, and he said that at that point of time, initially Pakistan aircraft was flying in the defensive formation, but when they saw the Indian aircraft coming towards the Pakistan borders, he said, shoot them, kill them, and I want Rafale. And after that, what happened, you all know that PF pilots were ordered to break. And the other thing which very daring the Pakistan Air Force do, the Pakistan Air Force uses Link Data 17. So Link Data 17 is one thing through which all the picture, which is the battle worthiness, situational awareness, it is communicated to the pilot through the data link measure. And at that point of time, when our aircraft was in the air, our AVAX aircraft, which is which is basically SAB 2000 ERI, it was flying towards the western side against Bhalpur and that area, and it was keeping an eye on the aircraft formation of IF. And while keeping, there's a big screen which is displayed in that aircraft. It was keeping an eye onto them, and then at that point of time, that they designate that which targets to be engaged by which aircraft. So all this exercise was going at one point of time. At that point of time, there was so daring action that Pakistan, the JF-17 Thunder, J-10C, they had switched off their radar, and they were only communicated through data link. And when the PL-15 was fired, So after firing of the PL-15, when its ESA seeker switched on, there were only 3 seconds, and the Indian aircraft had no chance of awaiting the hit of the PL-15. And you know what happened was, then the result was 4 Rafale and one QSU Mark 30 Mark 1 was MiG-29, and one Heron Mark 2 Israeli origin drone, which was that one of the aircraft which fell into Bhatinda. One of the reporter of the Hindu newspaper and its editor, they took the photograph, they printed in the next day edition early in the morning. Indian police raided onto the house of that editor also and that photographer also. They told them to remove the picture, and they put both the gentlemen into the lockup, and after that they are not seen where they have gone. So it was not only the killing of the it was only the downing of the aircraft it mattered. PF had taken a cyber war, had gone into cyber warfare also, because PF has created a special cyber warfare wing. It has a DG, and you know what came out, that all of the network of railway, PF cyber was launched was with the sweeping offensive, and there were drone attacks inside Pakistan also. There were drone attack in Lahore also. There was a drone attack. There were 3 drone attacks in Lahore. But what happened when those drones were targeted by Pakistan, they fell down. So Pakistan, the civilians on motorcycle, on cycles, they were seen loitering around those pieces of the drone, and they were taking those to their home so that they can celebrate that. No, it didn't finish here. After that, when the Marka had came out, Pakistan Army unleashed a blitz that struck like the lightning across the breadth of India, and 26 military installations of the Indian Army were silenced, which have already been explained by General Quyyum, so there's no need to go into the details that which brigade headquarters, which division headquarters, which position along the front were destroyed. But it was a message which was very clear, which was very loud. And you see the beauty of all this thing, that Russian S-400 mobile air defense system, it has a range of 400 kilometers, and it can engage 36 target at one point of time, and it had to be destroyed. So it's a long-range surface-to-air missile system. So PF had thought that we got to destroy it and send a message to the Indians that your air defense system is not compatible with our design. So one of the JF-17 Thunder of 14 Squadron, which is known as a tail chopper, it went on a suicidal mission. The pilot went into the system was deployed at Adhampur. The aircraft maneuvered directly. It went into the firing range of S-400. Of course, the path going towards the S-400 and the jamming which had to be done, it was taken by the other elements of Pakistan Air Force. So that pilot, probably his name is Hameed, he went into the firing range. He fired his missile onto the, which was CM-400 AKJS missile. It fired onto the S-400 battery, S-400 command system, and destroyed it. And then, Alhamdulillah, he bailed out from there. He flew back, landed at the base, and it was a rare piece of daring action, love to the Pakistan, and he showed a lot of courage and determination. And before going there, he had told his colleagues that if I don't come back, don't weep for me, because I'm going to do a mission which will be remembered in times to come. And you can realize the importance of it through the system that Narendra Modi next day went to the Adhampur. He stood in front of the launcher of the S-400, not the command system of the S-400. And the picture was displayed to the newspaper, but when it was displayed, people raised questions that you should have stood in front of the command system of the S-400, not the launcher. Launcher was there. Launcher is useless without the command system. So these were the stories of the valor and the courage which was written at point of there. And because of that, on 10th May, the Indian military spokeswoman Sophia Qureshi, on behalf of the Indian Army, said कि जी हम और जंग नहीं चाहते, वे जंग नहीं चाहते हैं तो आप जंग बंद कर दें. So after that, J.D. Vance came in. After that, Trump came in, and the ceasefire took place. Pakistan accepted the demand made by US president also, who has repeatedly said, who has described the the damage of the Indian craft. He started from the 4 aircraft, and now he has reached 11 aircraft. If not stopped, I think he'll go to 16 aircraft. The effect of this military dominance in the region established Pakistan as a net security provider. Because before that, India used to claim that नरेंद्र मोदी की 56 इंच छाती है तो हम बड़े बड़े काम करेंगे और जहां भी दुनिया में अमन का नाम आएगा वहां हमारा ही नाम लिया जाएगा. Now you can see Pakistan is playing a role at the global peace. Pakistan is trying to bring the peace, talking to the Americans also, talking to the Iran also, and the effects of that is that at least there's a temporary ceasefire, and the thing which was going on in the shape of the missiles attack between Iran and Israel, that has stopped. And India repeatedly keep on saying that there's going to be Sindoor 1, 2, Sindoor 2, Sindoor 2.0. I say, don't meddle with us. You will be taught a very effective lesson. If you come again, then that will be really dangerous because both the countries are the nuclear power. So we must avoid the war, concentrate on your country, and Pakistan is also concentrating for the peace building effort. So to join with us, and instead of going on to the fight, which will really useless for India also, for Pakistan has to reply that if Pakistan has to retaliate, so it will not be good for the South Asia. It will not good for the region. Thank you very much.
Recording stopped.